hold on. The last story. Oh, and Peppa Pig. We have a story about Peppa Pig. Okay, so I told y'all that I will come on here when I feel like the spirit moves me. The spirit moved me. I've been collecting stories to talk to you guys about. So that is what we're going to do today. Now, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this later, you're watching the replay. Thank you very, very much for your views, for your participation. All right. So we are just gonna get started with it. Okay. Can I share this with the YouTuberies? Oh no, hold on. I'm trying to do some pictures. Invite what? Anyway, I'm not doing all this. I'll do that when I have to, split up the stories. Anyway, so our first story tonight has to do with someone who is very dear from my childhood and unfortunately left us too soon. Malcolm Jamal Warner. I don't know how many of you guys grew up with the Cosbys, but I sure did. Okay. One of my favorite episodes of the Cosbys is the Gartrell episode when Denise made, okay, so Theo, Malcolm Jamal's character, he wanted this really expensive shirt, and it's no, sorry y'all. So yes, so Malcolm Jamal Warner's character wanted this really expensive shirt, right? He had bought it, and his parents were like, "Absolutely not!" They made him return it, and his what? I keep pressing the wrong button, y'all. I'm sorry. And then so then not Lisa Bonet, Denise is like, well, I can make you that shirt because she was taking some sewing class, and she makes him this shirt, and the shirt is hideous, y'all. It's like one part is too small, one part is too long. He said it's tucked into his socks, but that's one of my favorite episodes of the Cosby Show. So I was really sad when I had heard that Malcolm Jamal Warner had passed away due to drowning, right? Last year around this time. How many of you guys remember that? Who's in the room? Hey, Johnny B, thank you for the love. So how many of y'all remember that story about him drowning in Costa Rica? It was just a very tragic accident, right? But what we may not have known is that Malcolm Jamal Warner, I did not know that he had children. But he does. He at least has a daughter, right? And he has an ex-wife by the name of Tanisha. Now, in Hey K in the Clouds, so now in May of 2022, so this is 3 years before Malcolm passed away, Malcolm and his ex-wife signed a prenup where he agreed to a $1 million life insurance policy with her as the sole beneficiary. Okay, so Malcolm, okay, if I'm reading, okay, so the child is like 8 now, right? They did this in May 2020. So if the child's 8, 2026, the child was probably born in 2018. 2022, Malcolm and his wife, wait, hold on. Were they divorced? Yes. Anyway, they had a prenuptial agreement in May of 2022 that he would get a $1 million life insurance policy with her as the sole beneficiary. Okay. Now, he never ended up doing that. And again, he passed away last year. But now, Tanisha, his ex-wife or his widow, I'm not sure if they were married at the time he drowned, but she is suing his estate for a claim of $1,276,042.46 because she's saying that this was a contract between her and Malcolm before his death, and she wants that money from the family trust. Okay, now the when we're talking about the Warner family trust, okay, That trust, it has the residuals from his acting career. So we're talking about all the residuals from the Cosby Show. I don't know if you remember his he had another show with Eddie Griffith. I forgot the name of that show. He was also on a show called Jeremiah. Okay. So, and he was a musician. Malcolm Jamal Warner was a very prolific, entertainer, whether or not you kept up with his career, right? So there is money coming into that estate. And his widow or ex-wife, she wants, her piece of what was promised to her prior to his passing. Okay. Um, Okay, so they were married. So that's not his ex-wife. That was his wife. So she's his widow, and she is now suing the estate, which is run by his parents, and asking for her share. And it's been about a year. She filed this lawsuit on the anniversary. Hi, admin for creatives. She filed this lawsuit. Thank you for the love. On the day of his of the anniversary. Thank you of his passing. So, do you guys think that this agreement to have the $1 million policy, should it be honored by the estate, by Malcolm Jamal Warner's estate? It's been about a year since he passed. She hasn't seen a dime apparently, and these kids are not cheap to raise, right? What do we think is the holdup? What is preventing the estate, which is run by his mom, from giving her this money to raise Malcolm Jamal Warner's child, right? But what is in her favor is that she has this premarital agreement, right? It's not as if she is, yes. So Malcolm Jamal Warner's widow filed a lawsuit, let me see, filed a lawsuit just a couple of weeks ago, because she's been waiting a year for her piece of the pie. They had a premarital agreement that he was going to take out $1 million life insurance policy with her as the sole beneficiary. This was in 2022 when they first got married. He never ended up getting the policy opened, right? And now she's lost her husband. She's raising a child. I don't know what Miss Tanisha does for a living. I'm trying to see here. What does she do? I don't know what she does for a living, but Malcolm Jamal Warner, his estate, he's getting residuals from the Cosby Show, if it's still streaming somewhere. The other shows that he was on a couple of series, as well as his music, right? So Tanisha is like, look, I'm raising his kid, and he promised me $1 million life insurance policy. Why am I not getting my money? We had an agreement about this. So there is probably going to be some investigation as to what is going on with the estate, why, and whether they are obligated to honor this agreement between Malcolm Jamal Warner and his widow. So what do you guys think? Is Malcolm Jamal's widow owed this $1.2 million based on the insurance policy that Malcolm Jamal Warner promised her in the prenup, even though he never got it? What do you guys think about that? Should that be binding? I'm trying to, I can't see nothing, y'all. I should have put on a darker, my shirt is black. Oh, it's got white writing. Hold on. I'm trying to see what y'all are saying. Okay. Anyway, so so I would like to hear your let's read what's happening here. I would like to hear your thoughts on this. And again, another problem is that while he had this prenup agreement, Malcolm Jamal Warner did not have a will. Okay, guys, as a people, I am begging you, we need to wrap up. We need to take care of our affairs. I know that death is not a fun topic, but we need to, if we want to take care of our loved ones after we are gone, one of the best ways to do that is to have your legal documentation in order as to how you want your assets distributed. Okay. So I'm hoping everything works out for Malcolm Jamal Warner's widow. And we're going from one widow to another. Chadwick Boseman. How many of you guys remember Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther? Unfortunately, he also left us too early. He passed away from colon cancer. And I don't know if you guys remember. Hey, Lucille. Hi, doll. We were just talking about Malcolm Jamal Warner girl and how his widow is suing his estate for $1.2 million because he promised her $1 million life insurance policy in 2022, but never got it. So now she's going to the estate like, where's my money? Anyway, moving on to Chadwick Boseman. If you guys remember, Chadwick Boseman, he passed away from colon cancer. And less than a week before he passed, Chadwick Boseman married the woman he was then dating, and she became his wife. Her name is hold on, y'all. What is her name? Okay, her name is Taylor Simone Ledward. She is apparently an R&B artist. Anyway, he married her less than a week before he passed, and again, Chadwick Boseman passed away without a will. After he passed away, the court ordered half of Chadwick's estate to go to his widow, his wife, and the other half to be distributed between Chadwick's parents equally. Now, I don't know if Chadwick's parents are still together. I don't know why they worded it like that, but for ease's sake, let's say half the money was supposed to go to his widow, and half the money was supposed to go to his parents. Okay. So that was what was decided in August of 2020. Fast forward to this past month in July, Chadwick Boseman's the brothers are suing on behalf of the parents, claiming that Chadwick's estate is being mishandled, the funds are being mishandled, and they are demanding that his widow be removed from the estate. Okay. Now keep in mind, with control of the estate comes control of how Chadwick Boseman's intellectual property can be used. As the executor of his estate, his widow can decide where his name is used, where his image is used, right? And if we're kind of stepping back and looking at this, if you were the brother of a famous, actor or somebody with some means, and the state or whoever gave his wife of 6 days control of the estate, how would you feel? Now, I don't know whether there is mismanagement happening, but I know that I'm trying to put myself in that situation. Let's say my sister married somebody, and then 6 days later, God forbid, she passes, and the court tell us that person is in charge of her estate. When I tell you, I would raise holy heck. So I can kind of understand why the family feels that way. They are saying that the widow, she is operating the estate without transparency. Basically, they're saying she's not letting the parents know what's going on. They are worried that she is collecting money from Chadwick's stuff that he did and not letting the family know. This is hard. Your father married 53 days before he died. He saved my family for real. How? I don't understand. Because that family had to take care of everything. I don't understand. How did that save y'all? Because I've never been faced with this situation. Okay, Lucille. So by the way, guys, if you're not following my girl Lucille, I don't know what you're doing. Okay, she is an amazing chef. She runs a bed and breakfast. She does hair. She is a TikTok shop affiliate. They be calling her like she got their numbers. Okay, so y'all need to get with my girl Lucille. He had seven siblings and four children. Ooh, okay, all right, okay. You would have never agreed on anything. So their Papa was a Rolling Stone. Okay, and he had and he where he laid his hat was his home. Okay, so marrying someone 53 days before his passing, I guess it helped you guys, but was anybody salty about the fact that this woman who he was married to for less than 2 months, basically got control of everything? Let me make sure I'm not missing anything over here on YouTube. Y'all all right? Y'all all right, YouTube? Hey, y'all. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. Come on, Terry. Okay. We all had a common enemy and we stayed intact. So the common enemy was the new wife, I guess. Hey, round noonish. Anyway, but I'm just trying to look at it this way, right? Okay, so this past year I went to a couple of weddings for my cousins. It would have broken us, I believe. Okay, this past year I went to a couple of weddings. One of my cousins got married, just this past July, right? Um, and while yes, we love her husband, absolutely, sweetheart. If something happened to my cousin and she passed away 6 days after the wedding, the family would be in an uproar if the estate, if the courts said that her husband would be in charge of the estate, right? So I can understand why the brothers may feel some way, but this is where the law and emotions sometimes they butt heads. Uh how long had they been together? They were only I think they were dating for about a year. I remember Denzel Washington was talking about them. He had told Chadwick, he told him to marry her, and Chadwick married her soon after that, and then he passed away 6 days later. So I don't know. Maybe there was a reason. Maybe Chadwick married her because he wanted her to have control of things. But now it's causing a rift between her and the family because the family feels like she might be hiding things. And it might just be a fact that they don't really know her that well, you know? And the relationship that they would have built over time, had Chadwick survived, there's no opportunity for that anymore, right? Um, so I hope that they're able to settle this amicably. But again, this is why it's important to have a will. All right. Your father had no. And I mean, Chadwick's estate compared to what I the estate was about $3.8 million. That's not nothing, but it's not something where his widow is going to be able to retire for the rest of her life. Um, Okay, so let's move on to something a little more upbeat. Lucille, do you remember when I talked about that story when Disney had the deal with Sora OpenAI to make licensed content? If anybody watching, if you remember, or even if you didn't hear it from me, but if you remember the story about Disney, they had inked a deal with OpenAI where they were going to license characters to OpenAI. That deal died. Um, so something happened. Well, not something happened because there were so many complaints about the Sora app and copyrights and and infringement. The Sora app is done. OpenAI said, you know what? No more. So Disney said, you know what? We still want to do this. So Disney actually did two things. One, they launched a new service called Verts. I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you have the Disney app on your phone, Verts is a short form video platform that lets you swipe through short clips, scenes, and previews from movies and shows to discover new content and stream full episodes instantly. So essentially, the way that you can, flip through TikTok and see clips and things, Disney has a function like that on their app now. I'm gonna have to check it out after I get off of this live because I don't really be exploring like that, right? And then yesterday, Disney and TikTok revealed that they now have a licensing agreement with each other, which means that you, especially Lucille, okay, you need to pay attention to this. TikTok has a deal now with Disney where you're going to be able to make content with licensed characters. All right. Now we're going to have to look at all the rules surrounding that and how you can use it. I don't know how that's going to apply with people who are doing TT shop and stuff. But I don't know. We will definitely be doing some follow-up stories on this deal between Disney and TikTok. But okay, I'm looking at it this way, right? TikTok is basically pushing everybody to be a seller, to sell stuff and be on there, right? And then Disney is saying, "Hey, you can use our some of our stuff to do your videos over here on the TikTok." So I'm wondering if they're going to let people make reels and posts with licensed characters if you're trying to sell a product. I'm very interested to see if they're going to let people do that. And since Lucille, she is like one of the top TikTok sellers. I'm not joking with y'all. She's probably gonna get first crack at this this capability within TT, right? So y'all out here in the TT streets, this is your time. This is your time, okay? Disney, listen, Disney is losing a lot of their copyrights to their original characters. So they've got to find different revenue streams, right? They're like, this social media thing ain't going away. So they are like, listen, how do we can't put the AI monster back in the box. So how can we create some guardrails around the monster? So Disney is now partnering with these, modern services so that they can have some say over what happens with their intellectual property. It's very smart. Okay. Uh okay. Quick break before we move on to our next three stories. For those of you who just came in, thank you to all of you showing love. Thank you for sharing this out. I know that I'm not on as regularly as I used to be, but I'm really trying to regain my passion for this, and it's been taking me some time. But I still be keeping my eyes out for the story, so I'm trying to be more regular. I think the last time I was on here was 3 weeks ago. Next time I'm gonna shoot for 2 weeks. Right. But if you didn't know, besides this, I am a business and trademark attorney. So if you need help getting your trademarks, getting your copyrights, I just had one approved for one of my clients for conferences. It's getting published for opposition. This is what I do. I love intellectual property, and I also am a big passionate and zealous fan of entrepreneurship. I think it's one of the best ways to change your fate. And with things like TT selling and being able to sell on social media, everyone can access it. So what I want to do is help you not only get the bag but keep it by properly structuring your business. Okay, so if you need help with any of that, make sure you hit the LINK in my bio. I do give free 15-minute consultations to first-time clients. Okay. All right. Moving on to our next story. How many of y'all have heard of this Jimothy raccoon? I was hearing about it and I was like, okay, what is this? How many has anybody heard about this Jimothy raccoon person? I don't like this. Come on. Hold on, y'all. No. Okay. Shisa. Mom didn't have Round Newness. You still here? Mom didn't have a will. Okay. Um. Oh, you know what? I want to go back to this will thing. You love Jimothy. Even if there's an only child, if you don't have a will, your stuff is going to go through probate, meaning the state is going to get in your business and tell you how to divide it. So it's better to have a will because the state is not only gonna get in your business, they're gonna make you pay for it. Okay, so that's why you want to make sure that your affairs are wrapped up. So Lucille said she loves Jimothy. Apparently, you're not the only one because a lot of people have started to try to file trademarks for various services with Jimothy's name or Jimothy's likeness, right? Some people have, let's see. So that there have been trademarks filed for stuffed animals, baby products. Here's the problem though. Trademarking under this Jimothy phenomenon is probably not going to work because no one can attribute Jimothy to a particular brand, right? When you are getting a trademark, when you are filing a trademark, you are saying this logo, this name, this phrase, this represents my product. And anybody who sees it should know that it comes from me. Everybody knows who Jimothy is. Can anybody say where Jimothy started? Lucille said Jimothy is the brand. Exactly, right? Jimothy is the brand. So it's just like with it's kind of a shorter thing with my favorite story, Bling Bling. When Baby came out with the song Bling Bling, he said he did not realize how popular Bling Bling would become. Bling Bling was everywhere, and it got so popular that he could not trademark it. Jimothy is all over. He is a celebrity unto himself, okay? So it's going to be very hard for anybody to make a credible argument that they should be able to trademark either Jimothy's likeness or name for their products. But hey, to each his own. If because it's a phenomenon. We're gonna forget about Jimothy in like a week or so, right? So it's not really something that you can build a brand on. Okay. My last two stories that I want to talk to you about. Let me see which one I want to do first. All right, I want to do this one first. All right. Jimothy is the brand. Okay, so how many of y'all have a Netflix account that you pay for? Not that you have access to. How many? Hi, Queen Melanin. How many of y'all have a Netflix account that you paid for? Who's Neil the Seal? I know I missed Neil the Seal. Anyway, so you're on your mom. Okay. All right. Mom counts. Anyway, so remember, I don't know if you guys remember the last time I came on here, I gave y'all an update. There was a man who recently went to prison because he stole $55 million from Netflix, right? They had given him $55 million to make a series for them and he never made it. He just blew it on bad investments. Well, Netflix is now being sued for $105 million for not for stealing, not for them stealing, but for them allowing someone to steal something. So basically, a company sent Netflix a master copy of a movie called Fortitude, right? So when Netflix, they have deals with these companies, they have to send the movie, the show somehow. Usually it's, some type of USB file, something secure. Somebody brought it. Ooh, crap. Hold on. Hold on. Let me go. So the company that made Fortitude, they sent the master copy over to Netflix, and they said, "Hey, Netflix, this is the movie. You're gonna put it on the platform, um, for people to watch." The executives at Netflix they screened the film. Of course they have to watch it before they put it on the platform, right? The master copy got stolen. So it's just like, how you watch them TV shows where the spy goes and steals a file from the office. Essentially, that is what happened at Netflix. After the screening, somebody stole the master copy. The producers told the people who made the movie, they told them like 9 days later. Now they didn't just steal that one movie, they stole a bunch of drives. So essentially, how you used to have the bootleg man who was running around with the DVDs and all that. As opposed to doing that, now you got somebody stealing USB drives and then probably uploading it to some pirate site. So now the people who made the movie, they are suing Netflix for $105 million because that is what it cost to make the film, and for negligence. Because Netflix, what do you mean? What do you mean that somebody was just able to come and swipe the master copy of this $105 million film? How were y'all so negligent, right? Yes. So what the movie producers are alleging, they're like, look, there is a standard of care. These movies cost millions of dollars to make. We know there is a problem with piracy. You, as one of these big studio houses, you have a duty to make sure that everything is secure. This is like going, yes, this is like you tell somebody, watch your purse, okay? They holding your purse, then they put it down. Somebody steals the purse, and then they don't tell you for 9 days. Okay, essentially that's what happened. So Netflix is like, well, it's not our fault because somebody stole it, and the people who made the movie is like, nah, y'all should. Why is it so easy for somebody to come in and steal at Netflix? So we will have to see what happens. Um, because the producers are always saying that they lost the chance to bring a $45 million film to the market. Who knows where that? Listen, for y'all who do who have pirate sites, I'm not going to ask you to point yourselves out, but see if you see a movie on there called Fortitude. Okay. That movie is now at the center of a lot of drama with Netflix, and they're being sued for $105 million. um Okay. Hmm. Oh, and to make matters worse, Netflix offered them $800 as a reimbursement. $800 from a film that cost $105 million to make. Are you kidding me? You just spit in my face. Anyway, but as you can see, I got a little worked up about that because Netflix. Now, granted, I don't pay for my Netflix. I get it through my phone person, but I guess I pay for it because they charge me so much. But people's out here paying $8.99. You want that $8.99 every month, and you can't even have no security measures to keep people's stuff safe. Uh-uh. All right. So last story that we are talking about, Nicole, your kids are too old for this, but Do we have any parents of toddlers watching right now? If you do, you have probably been forced to watch Peppa Pig. All right. This weekend, I babysat my nephew, and he is obsessed with Peppa Pig. It's always, I want to watch Peppa Pig. Welcome, put on Peppa Pig. I love Peppa Pig. Like, he can't even read. Okay. I had opened Netflix, and I went to the kids section, and they don't have the words. It was just the 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 pictures, and he just pointed to Peppa Pig. My nephew knows who Peppa Pig is. He knows the sounds, he knows the songs, right? Peppa Pig is very popular, owned by Hasbro. These are the people who did the Super Soaker. These are the people who originally did Transformers and all that. They're like one of the original toy companies, right? So there is a Korean company that tried to do their own type of Peppa Pig-ish show that they called Wolfu. Wolfu, right? Here's the problem. In Wolfu, they would use clips from Peppa Pig on their Wolfu show. And mind you, they have about 13, was it 15 million? They have about 15 million followers on their social media, right? So it was like there are very recognizable sounds and songs and phrases that come from Peppa Pig. So on this Korean show called Wolfu, they would take those very recognizable sounds and like and it seems basic to us, but for the kids, they recognize the Peppa character saying things like hooray, right? And not only that, it wasn't just they did it in one, they did it in 92 English language videos, 92 videos, and about 75% of the foreign videos. So it wasn't a mistake. They knew what they were doing. So the company that owns Peppa Pig took the Korean company to the courts, and the court said, y'all are tripping, and made them, take everything down. So they literally built their audience by stealing from Peppa Pig. And what do I tell you guys? Do not build your brand on someone else's back, because you never know what's going to happen. So now they've got to start from scratch. Wolfu is no longer around. Okay. They can't be here no more. So word to the wise, you need to be original out here in these intellectual property streets. Okay. So those were the stories that I wanted to share with you guys. Those were the ones that caught me over the last few weeks. I hope you guys had a great time with me. I will try to be back on more frequently. The more stories that I find interesting, the more I will be back on. So, if you guys want send me some stuff, give me some encouragement to get on here. Okay. But I'm going to leave y'all here. If you have unless you have questions, yes, you live for this tea. Do you guys have any questions on the stories that we covered? Or you live so because we talked about Malcolm Jamal Warner and his widow. We talked about Chadwick Boseman and his widow. We talked about Disney's new deal with TikTok and their new thing they do on their app. We talked about Netflix getting sued for $105 million. We also talked about Peppa Pig winning a copyright infringement lawsuit. So if you guys have any questions on these stories, you can ask your questions now. You can send them in my DMs. If there are stories that you want me to cover, please let your girl know. All right. My DMs are open, but keep it clean. All right. So that is where I'm going to leave you guys. Have a wonderful night. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. All right. I got to turn all these off. End. Share as real. And end.